Snow in July.
Said fireflies popping like a 4th of July, yeah.
Breeze blowing in, your hair blowing round. You're scanning through the stations looking for that country sound.
Trucks jacked up, flat bills flip back.
It's going down just right.
Girl, you make my speakers go boom, boom.
We hanging around, singing down everything on the radio.
I need to hold you, I won't show you where the night is almost over.
Nothing but time tonight. Let's get to killing it. Long as I'm rocking with you, girl.
Falling like this, might wanna close your eyes for this. Ready, set, let's ride. Sure be cool if you did. Ready, set, let's ride.
Yeah, baby, this is how we roll. We rollin' in
Country on up ahead, tipping and spilling that homemade wine. You got me high on kisses.
You can see forever with me.
yeah, you know we rollin' high ball.
I got my shades on, top back, rolling with the music jack, dancing on the tailgate in the full moon.
Keep on smiling, that smile that's driving me wild. And what you don't wanna miss, no. It's all into the moonlit Chevy bench seat.
Yeah, I just turn and look at you, baby.
It gotta be the best buzz I'm ever gonna find. Just chillin' it. Let's slip on out
For the night is in order.
We'll take it off on out in the water.
You don't have to throw back your pretty cake, lemonade, shooter, and lean a little closer. Slide girl, by my side, girl.
We could get short untangled with our hands up. You're looking so good in what's left of those blue jeans.
To the middle till the sun comes up. Running on strong, I'm gonna lay it on your lips.
Just chillin' it.
Ready, set, let's ride. Sure be cool if you did. Hey, pretty girl, might wanna close your eyes for this.
I've been rockin' with you high on summertime.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day, it's a new life. Oh, and I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Lost
gentlemen, start your engines.
Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday night, Goat Biker Racing's INvets ARCA series, and tonight we're at Phoenix for their championship race. This will be the last of the summer series tonight in their ARCA series. Tomorrow night will be the last one for their Relevant Truck series, and then they'll get the regular season going again here at the end of the month. Current track temperature is 81 degrees, and with me tonight, I'm Steve Bartlett, and Dean Biggles is with me, and the producer, and he'll be chiming in once in a while too.
Yes, good evening, my friend. If we have our great racing grid for the finale here this evening, I'd like to go over that, please, Steve.
All right, and first we got Mike George leading off in the number 29, Jeremy Gardner on his outside in the 42, and third we have Timothy Williams in the 86, Jake Ellingson in the 27. Row 3 is Andy Kurtz in the 18, James Kaufman in the 25. Row 4, Scott Formosa, Johnny Cofield. Row 5, George Jewell, Timothy Jones. Row 6, Chance Taylor, Jeremiah Holt. And then we have in row 7, Devin Smith and Brandon Wallace. Row 8, Tyler Justice, Matt Knights. And in row 9, we have Tanner Bethea and Michael McCarthy. Tonight's the championship race, and these are the guys that are going to be fighting for that championship. In the 18, we have Andy Kurtz. In the 29, Mike George. In the 99, Brendan Wallace. In the 80, Scott Formosa. In the number 36, George Jewell. In the 42, Jeremy Gardner. In the 86, Timothy Williams. In the 25, James Kaufman, and in the number 27, Jake Ellingson.
And here we go, my friend. They're off already, so no time to mess around on the finale. 115 laps to get done. No stage breaks. Go all the way to the end, of course, as much as you possibly can. There will be breaks. Most likely there will be cautions. Mike George takes the lead.
And as Bigelow says, George is in the lead, followed behind Gardner, Kurtz, Ellingson, and Williams, the top 5. Everybody in the top 5 fighting for that championship. And we got the Gardner diving in on the inside, coming around. Is he going to take the lead coming out of this turn? We will see. Right now he's got the lead and he takes it.
Gives it a shot currently at the moment. We have 3 drivers who didn't start the race. Tyler Justice, Tanner, and Michael have not started. You can see the out there on the screen too. As we're missing one of the championship rivalries as well too, as you went over there just before. But they are fierce and fighting, and why not? Of course, it's Phoenix, and it's about the battle, of course, to get yourself for the INvets ARCA series. Champion for the Sunday series, Jeremy Gardner now has taken the lead of this race in number 42 machine.
And the field window for tonight, while we're at the beginning here, is between lap 51 and lap 56. There will be no stages, so it'll be green all the way through, unless, of course, we get any wrecks and throw the caution. But Jeremy Gardner's in the lead, followed by Mike George. Everybody's kind of spread out, single file.
Yeah, under the lights, as you mentioned, my friend, with those weather conditions at the moment, 81 degrees track temperature, 81 degrees ambient temperature, as they can make their way around this fantastic short track, essentially racing, and forget about racing lines. There are none. Use as much of the track as you possibly can. Under the lights, welcome, of course, over there. Ray from Brandon Wallace is chatting to us. Chester's out there supporting all their drivers, the Mystic Whisperer. So good luck to every one of our drivers. All of them, as you mentioned, quite a handful of these drivers have the chance to lift a trophy at the end of the race.
And if you're on YouTube, chat, don't forget to like and subscribe. And follow us on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook tonight. As you can tell, this is the dog leg, so they are able to go inside that yellow line. Coming out of, I think it's turn 4, if I remember correctly. And these guys are still single file. Gardner in the lead, followed by George, Kurtz, Ellingson, and Wilms, your top 5.
And Mike George as well too. We had to give the Big Fish Pole a barbecue award to as well too. So whilst he's in P2 at the moment, he did put the fastest time in to get the Big Fish barbecue pole award. And of course, we had a big thank there to the INvets, the Goat Locker Racing that's partnered with INvets to provide more resources and assistance to our nation warriors. We'll go back over then and give them a shout out a little bit further on, as whilst we are still green flag racing. There's a little bit of a switch where Andy Kurtz now is up into P3, gaining 2 positions, putting a little bit of pressure right now on Mike George.
Yes, I was just going to mention that Ellingson's fighting to get past Mike George, take over that second spot. Gardner is still in the lead in that number 42, followed by, again, George, Kurtz, Ellingson, and Wilms.
At the moment, my friend Stevie, they are starting to pull a little bit of a gap. You can see that about 1.4 seconds and change down the road. That top 3 are starting to scream away there. Jake's got to start to catch that pack because you can see he's just fallen outside that little bit of a gap there, but he's starting to crawl them in, and just behind them is Timothy Films and Johnny Caulfield. So they are starting to catch up. So that pack was starting to spread. You can see a big gap at the moment, a little bit further down the field. That will go from Timothy Jones back in that 95 machine all the way back to the 73 machine of Jemiah Holt. But for now, we're focused at the business end of the race. These laps are starting to click by pretty quickly. 10 down, 106 to go.
And as Dean mentioned about the gap, they're about anywhere from 1 to 2/10 of a second behind each other, those top 4 cars. And they're coming out of turn 4 now, getting ready to make the dog leg. And
Now,
yes, they are.
Yeah. Go ahead, my friend.
And yes, they are allowed to go below that yellow line in the dog leg.
Yeah.
They don't get any points deducted or anything like that.
Yeah, one of
tonight.
those tracks, isn't it, that you can go ahead and really get on inside that inside apron. Now, whether or not it's going to be an advantage or not, sometimes it always isn't. But how is that going to come to tyre wear and all that sort of jazz later on? Some drivers like to do it, as you can see. Some drivers don't.
Yeah, I would imagine it does take a little more tire wear. It's been quite a while since I've raced at Phoenix. It's not one of my favorite tracks. But yeah, a lot of drivers do it. Some don't. Some claim it does give an advantage. Others say no, it really doesn't. I guess it's all in the perspective of the driver and their driving style.
Andy Kurt's got to get rid of that 24 on the side of his car. I'm showing 18 on the telemetry, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to his truck. But yeah, you can see on the picture in the left-hand side of the driver's details, it does have 24 on the machine, but we're showing 18 on telemetry. There's Timothy and Johnny Caulfield, who's under a little bit of pressure right now from George Jewell. So we do know that Chester, big Go 36 Jewell, here he is right now, and applying a bit of pressure on Mr. Jonathan Caulfield, the 97 machine. Both of these drivers are up 2 places so far.
And we're watching from inside the cockpit of George Jewell. As you can see on your screen in the lower left corner. And there he goes. He's going to try to make the pass on that 47 car. And couldn't quite do it this time.
As you said, you haven't been here in a while, my friend, for overtaking. It doesn't look like it's very easy to overtake just yet while everybody's at full speed, full temperature, and tyres are warm. But as you can see, especially going on that inside apron, sends it up on the inside, and it's not quite done just yet, but it looks like George Jewell might have that job done.
Yep, he has passed Mr. Caulfield there in the 36. He was able to take that pass there in the dog leg. Again, we have Gardner in the lead. George, Kurtz, Ellingson, Wilms, still your top 5. And they're anywhere from a half a second on back to 2 seconds now, apart from the leader.
It's always risky, isn't it, when you go down the inside apron there? As you said, I think this is a dog leg. And then you come back up on the racetrack, and the other driver hasn't elected to go down that path. You've got to really just trust that the other drivers around you, don't you? That you're not going to come slamming straight into them because you're completely off that different racing line. Let's have a look from Mike George's perspective as we get a rider on his hill. And so you can see up the left-hand side, Jeremy's gone in that one, then bang, he's going to swing it all the way back up. Now, they're not close enough, but if you are close enough, yeah, once again, you've got to make sure you don't come up there and just completely T-bone your opponents.
Yeah, and it's really hard to see the driver next to you if you go down into that dog leg. The one car that's up there on the track pretty much disappears because you got all that Hans device in the way, and it's really hard to see around there.
I can hear your puppy or dog in the background, mate's getting quite excited about the race because it's the finale.
That's actually my 1-year-old behind me.
All right, okay. Yeah, even more getting excited about the race. 18 laps down, 98 to go. Once again, they're clicking over pretty quickly. It's going to be more key right now, isn't it? And please let us know in the chat. When are you expecting your loved, your peer ones, your friends, your peers and everything like that to jump down into that pit road? Because if it's all green flag racing like this, my friend, you're going to easily be down a couple of laps if you dive into pit road early.
Yep, we're coming up on finishing up lap 19, going to lap 20, so we should have about 31 to 36 laps before we hit the fuel window. And it looks like they're starting to close up that gap a little bit now on Gardner. George getting a little closer there, along with Kurtz and Jake Ellingson. And Gardner, as you see, is still going down below the yellow line in the dog leg. And what's interesting with Phoenix, too, on that dog leg, unlike most tracks when you go down to the apron, Phoenix actually has a little bit of grip down there. So you're not going to get as loose as you would, say, at Atlanta or Charlotte or someplace like that, where that apron's really slick and real easy to get loose.
I tell you how it would be a little scary is if you're coming out of pit road right there and somebody's coming straight down full speed in front of you. That's going to be a little bit scary, isn't it? Because on the pit road, of course, you're starting to get the loud pedal down there and getting up to full speed of the gasoline, and then all of a sudden there's this car flying across on the inside. You'll see it here in a second if he does jump down. There's the... I'm not sure that was the... No, this is the start of it. Yeah, you can see the exit to pit road somewhere right here. I'm getting used to this track, so don't judge me too much on that. Probably there, right?
And when they're coming out of pit road, they've actually, if I remember correctly, they've actually got to go around that other turn before they can come up onto the track.
Okay.
So that they're on a straightaway, they can see everybody behind them before they enter the track.
Well, we can see at the moment there, James Kaufman trying to give a little bit of pressure there to Johnny Caulfield, who's still up one, but you saw George Shield make that pass before. Which, once again, doesn't necessarily indicate that the driver's slow. We do have a blinking car just looking up the road there. Doesn't necessarily indicate the driver's slow. We've got to look at a lot of strategy that's going on behind these drivers' minds at the moment too, isn't it? Because tyre preservation is one of the keys on the great track of Phoenix.
Oh, for sure. Just like most mile-and-a-half miles and short tracks, that you got to save them tires. Some guys will just take it nice and easy, and then towards the end of the race or into the fuel window there, they'll be passing everybody because everybody else has used up their tires. And I got to say, I was wrong. That blue cone is coming right out of that turn. So no, they do not have to go around the corner before they enter the track. They can come right there at the almost as soon as they get out.
One person at the moment is James Kaufman trying to get on the inside there of Johnny. Oh, door banging right now. And you'll hear from door banging download there from Jacob tomorrow night, of course, to present the Truck Series. And that's actually door banging him enough. That's allowed Chance Taylor to take an opportunity to see through here. And in fact, maybe Timothy Jones. Now, I'm wondering, nope, you see Johnny Caulfield's going to try to fight that one back. That's the 97 on the outside. He's right behind the 14 of Chance Taylor to just take that overtake as well, too, as James Kaufman. And they went door banging. So this is the Hornets nest zone currently at the moment. I like the Dingo Cave of where the action is, because Jeremy's still leading up the road there. They've got about half a second between each other, but this is definitely where it's starting to brew up, my friend. And why not? It's going to brew up. It's going to... Heat is on later on in this race, as you can imagine, as we get down to 20 or so to go for the battling for the championship.
And I could imagine that door banging there didn't make somebody too happy this early in the race. So far, these guys are racing clean. They're staying single file. They are making passes, a little at a time here and there. And again, just a reminder, your top five still are Gardner, George, Kurtz, Ellingson, and Wilms. Wilms is now 2.5 seconds behind Gardner. Ellingson is 1.4 seconds back. Perch is a second back, and George is a half a second back. So Gardner's building on his lead, it looks like.
Yeah, you can see currently, mate, we're right on board with Jake because Jake's got the Jake Club. Of course, Jake's a fantastic part of Goat Locker Racing, and his mum's out there supporting him as well too. Rusty's referee saying, "We're not letting you race tonight." Well, you should have told me. I want to call up your boss and say, "Look, there's priorities, my friend." 101. It's called a finale of the Goat Locker Racing ARCA series. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll try to bring you the best broadcasting we can. We are only the producers and so forth, right? At the end of the day, we're the only entertainers. The stars are the ones that are on the track, so let's hope they can produce some of the fantastic entertainment, as they currently are at the moment, because 29 down, my friend, 87 to go. And if we go green flag racing further and further, we're going to have to start seeing some green flag pit stops, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that's when it becomes interesting, because then it all comes down to pit strategy when it's time to go in. Get that fuel, get those new tires. When you want to go, you want to go early. You want to wait as long as you can. I kind of hit the middle somewhere. I don't try to come in too early or stay out too late. As soon as I get that warning from my spotter, that's when I head in, usually.
Do you also think that the weight of most of the pit stops this evening will be relying on the number 42 machine leading this one of Jeremy? Because Jeremy has to, if he makes that decision, as they pass the cactus on the green flag indicating around, Jeremy has to make that call. If he makes that call, it's the rest of the field. Mike can go, well, he's got enough time right here to tuck it into pit road as well too, and the rest of the field can follow the leader. Or of course they then have the opportunity to go once they have to go laps or something like that. But Jeremy can't, can he? Because being the lead of the race, he doesn't know if anybody's going to go on pit road until it's too late for him. So there is a disadvantage sometimes of being the leader.
Yeah, I think the top 5 will probably stay out with Gardner. I'm thinking maybe Formosa, Wallace back there in 11th and 12th will try to pit early, maybe, so that they can, when they come out, they've got the lead when these guys go in. That's my thought, anyways.
Well, thank you very much. Of course, I'm reading through some of the chat while the race is relatively... It's good. It's fantastic. It's fast-paced, but it's also like not wheel-to-wheel door bang. And trust me, you're going to get that a little bit later on. These drivers, I think, seizing the ample opportunity to get used to the cars, get used to the tyres, and obviously saving those tyres and saving the gasoline, awaiting that upcoming pit stop. So going through that one, of course, Patrick Trebek, of course, he knows about winning championships and things like that. So Paddy's out there. It's really down to George and Kurtz. And of course, I'm reading some of the other information. Sharp Car 36 with the BCR Communications is in and out of Tampa, Florida. That's from Chester. So give us the information, predictions as well too. Get lucky predictions in now before we get into our first round of pit stops. Who do you think are going to win? Give us your top 3 if you want out there. See if you can try to pick the trifecta. Apart from just the race winner, give us your 1, 2, and 3. And who knows, give you a big shout out, of course, if you get it all right later on. You get the bragging rights actually to pick the first finale of the Go Locker Racing Summer Series. Of course, tomorrow we'll have the Truck Series to follow on.
I wonder if Tyler Justice had some car troubles there at the beginning of the race. He's now 35 laps down. Doesn't even look like he started.
No, they didn't look like that. Those 3 drivers at the moment have not started. But there's a bit of a battle brewing because it looks like Scott Formosa has now got past Johnny Caulfield. Now, Johnny Caulfield is dropping back through that field now. 3 positions gained, lost as well to Scott Formosa. However, once again, are we looking at a little bit clever play strategy between these drivers? Are they going to look to stay out a few more laps, perhaps? Whilst the rest of the field, perhaps, go into pit road. Still continue to put in those fast laps and then undercut a whole bunch of drivers. We've seen it before, haven't we, my friend? Yes,
we have. Yeah, I'm thinking, like I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking those guys towards the back that are in the fighting for the championship, they're going to go in a little early, I believe. Let these guys maybe get a lap or so ahead of them, and then if they play it right, once the leaders go into pit, they may have the lead at that time. These guys that are further back currently.
You're right, Steve. And just to elaborate to everybody at the moment, this man, Jeremy, is in the hunt for the championship. Right behind him And, well, we have, I'm just going to go through that list at the moment. You can go through it. Mike George, of course, running in P2. He's got a chance for the championship, as well as Andy Kurtz, as well as Jake. Now, I'm just having a look for Timothy on the list. Yes, Timothy also has a chance for it. George Gill has a chance for... These are the drivers that have enough points to get that championship. Looking for James Kaufman out there. No, unfortunately, James Kaufman's not. We have to go a little bit further down. You could probably read through that one as well too, because I'm trying to look over there and not miss the camera angles at the same time. Ooh, that's some little bit of a tricky information there. It looked like Jeremy got so close to the pit lane entrance there for a second. It looked like he was going to dive in. But yeah, the rest of those champions to contend for the championship.
Yeah, Kaufman's currently in 7th. I noticed there's a big gap now between the 8th and 9th place on back, where Taylor's Jones is about 4 seconds behind Taylor right now. Then it just gets farther and farther as they go back. Smith, who's the last car on the track, is 21.5 seconds. He's getting pretty close to getting lapped.
Ray says P1 and P2 are going for the championship. I thought we had a list of all the drivers who were going for the championship out there. I was 100% sure on that one.
Yeah, I read them off there at the beginning.
Yes.
So just as a reminder, those fighting for the championship, 18, Andy Kurtz, 29, Mike George, 99, Brendan Wallace, the 80, Scott Formosa, the number 36, George Jewell, number 42, Jeremy Gardner, number 86, Timothy Williams, the 25, James Kaufman, and Jake Ellingson in the 27. He is currently in 4th.
And I need your top 10, top 3 predictions for the race results out there as well. And it's interesting too, because anybody in this race, because we have essentially only 15 starters, can win the race. And of course, as you said, out of those drivers, only a handful of them can actually win the championship overall, and that is 10 of those drivers. So with 15 drivers on the track, any of the 10 can win the championship. Any of the 15, of course, can win the race. So it's going to be very, very... What happens, by the way, too, just to clarify, if a driver outside their championship does win the race, does it go down to the 2nd place? Or whoever highest ranking after that?
Yeah, whoever's in the race for the championship, the closest to the lead,
Right, okay.
will be the champion.
So you just need to, yeah. I mean, there's a good chance that those in the top 10 for the hunt are going to be practically somebody's going to be winning it. But you never know. You never know.
Well,
I certainly think that those drivers that didn't, sorry, I certainly think those drivers that didn't quite make the championship hunt, ooh, as we're seeing somebody slapping against the fence a little bit there. I think that's Mike George, actually. That's going to compromise Mike George's speed a little bit there to Andy Kurtz. But yeah, going back to that one, what a way at least to end the summer series. Even if you want for a championship hunt, you still get yourself a race win. It's still good feeling.
Oh yeah, it's still a good feeling. Now my top 3, I'm going to have to go with the top 3 guys right now. They look strong. They've been in those top 3 positions through the whole race so far, and of course that would be Gardner, George, and Kurtz, followed by Ellingson and Wilms in 5th. But like you said, anybody can still win this. Let's see, Wallace is back in 12th. He's still got a chance. He's still on the lead lap. They're going to have some caution flags work at their advantage, though, to do that.
You might have just got one right
Whoa.
now. That was, what a
Is that
save from
Gardner?
Timothy. Timothy Jones, what a save there. Scott Formosa just got past him. You can see the rear end start to slide out big time in the 95 machine. His tyres are going to be a little bit bacon at the moment. You have to cool it down, back it down. You got Johnny Caulfield behind him. And that's very, very crucial. And a good save there, so it didn't call the caution just as you were trying to jinx that, were you? You were trying to commentate curse that one for a second there. Let's see what you're up to there, Steve.
Yeah, I got a bad habit of doing that. I'll say something, and sure enough, it happens as far as wrecks go. But yeah, I would suspect these guys will start pitting any time now. We are on lap 47. Again, that fuel window's between laps 51 and 56. Gardner's maintaining the lead. George is falling behind by 1.2 seconds, followed by Kurtz, Ellingson, and Wilms. And as you mentioned, yeah, Jones tapped that wall that wasn't good for him or his car. That'll slow him down depending on how much damage he's got.
You might want to see, yeah, considering Lee, you might want to take that little opportunity and just jump in, you know, and then see how it pans out for you, especially if you've scrubbed a little bit of speed or you've overheated your tires and done a little bit of damage. This it's so difficult sometimes as a spectator to see if the drivers are going in because they cut that inside apron so much. But another thing coming up at the moment, you do have lap traffic, and this is what Jeremy and the rest of the team have to think about. And of course, that lap machine is coming up. That's the 24. That's Devin Smith. He's the last place driver currently in the field, and they're going to be. And considering how much these cars spread around the track, as you say, inside apron, right up against the wall, back in the inside, at some point you'd be like, okay, is this car going to start slowing me down, or at least scare me or frighten me a little bit? Do I then dive in a pit road and not have to deal with it? See at the moment how Jeremy's going to decide.
Yeah, I don't think the lap cars will be that big of an issue, especially since we're strung out single file like this. Now, like Monday night at Talladega, that could have been an issue when cars are 4 wide and they come up on a lap car like that. Just not enough room to get everybody around. But those guys did a good job at getting back into 2 lanes and getting past the lap cars. And Scott Formosa is in the pits right now. I would imagine he'll be taking fuel and tires.
Yep, absolutely. As a huge battle, of course, right here at the moment in the Hornet's Nest. You got Caulfield, Timothy Jones, and Brandon Wallace is finally coming to join this party there for the 99 machine. So this is where it can get a little bit spicy and dicey. Drivers get a little bit anxious, and of course, on top of it, you're going to know if you're going to be going to pit road. And it looks like Timothy Jones has elected to stay out of that little fight for now there. Try a little bit of an undercut. Scott Formosa's in there, as you said, be taking up tires left and right, and this is right on the money, exactly of what you said there, Steve, is when these drivers are expected to come down and visit their pit crew.
Yep, and if you remember, I mentioned the guys towards the back would probably pit first, and that's so far that's what we're seeing too. And here comes Formosa back on the track. Yeah, see, there's plenty of room for them to get up, and of course, these guys that are coming around near him like that, they will scoot up to the wall and let them in pretty easy. But now I imagine Formosa, since he's on the newer tires, he'll pull away from Gardner, and so he won't be a factor.
It's another thing as well, too, isn't it, my friend, of trying to determine exactly, you want a little bit of a gap in the field, too. You don't want to be coming out a ton of traffic. Even though you would be quicker with the fresher boots, you can take more of a risk. But at the same time, it would cost you a little bit because you want to get those brand new, fresh tires out of the tire blankets up to full speed there and use them to your advantage to get the overtakes done. But you also don't want to be stuck around that many lap traffic to unlap yourself with to try to get the job done. It's a nice battle there between Timothy Wilms and Jake going for it too for now. Jake started in the P4 position. Still in the P4 position, Timothy started a few places up in the 86 machine and currently sitting at P5.
Yeah, Timothy Williams is fighting for that 3rd spot, or excuse me, that 4th spot with Jake Ellingson, as Dean mentioned. And we still got Gardner, George, and Kurtz, the top 3, waiting for them to pit. See what their strategy is tonight.
Huge gap up the road there from Jeremy. He's got almost a 1, you can almost see a 2-second gap. So that's massive. But Andy Kurtz slowly applying that pressure onto Mike George. See how that pans out.
And are they fighting for position there? That
Yes, sir. Andy Kurtz gets the job done on Mike George.
Oh, okay. So
Mike George coming back.
Up, there they go.
It ain't over yet.
Mike George is going to fight him back, coming up on the inside.
And
George is going in the pits.
Yep. That's always a tricky one, isn't it, when you do the switcheroo like that? Because if you're on the outside line, Mike George cannot just cut completely across the other driver and go on a pit road. So you have to be on the inside apron. He lifted off at the moment. You saw that one when he fought back and then just said, no, okay, I'm going to pit road. So 3 drivers now have gone to pit road. Make that 4, including Mike George. Scott Formosa was the first. Brian Wallace and Timothy Jones. They're going to be obviously at the back of the field there. You can see those car numbers 80, 99, and 94 on the track map. However, remember, they don't have to go on the pit road. Now, What would be good for these other drivers, of course, is a caution, because it's going to give them a cheap free pit stop. But if it doesn't pan out with any caution, well, it may give these other drivers an opportunity to gain some positions. I'll try to get you some of the last times up in that scoring pylon up on your left-hand side. So that'll give you a little bit of an idea of the times. Look at that. Scott Formosa's time, a 27.7. Brandon Wallace, a 27.9. They are lapping quicker, of course, on those fresh boots. So by each lap that they get to do quicker and quicker and quicker, they could get some good gains as George Jewell goes in.
Yes, they could get some good gains. And I've been, when I was racing with these guys, their last full season, they're pretty good at letting the other drivers know when they're pitting, that they're going to pit this time around is how they normally do it. So everybody tries to stay out of their way so they can come down and pit. They don't want to, of course, they don't want to be blocking anybody from getting into the pits. That'll cause some beef, as the redneck announcer likes to say.
James Kaufman, Chance Taylor go in as well too. So we're just waiting for electing about half the field now, about 10 drivers left to go in. The ones that have elected to save their tyres. And we kind of suspected Johnny Caulfield. Remember, he dropping a lot of places earlier. I'm wondering that this might prove the fact that has he been kinder with his tyres? Has he been kinder with his loud pedal in the fuel? Will he be able to stay? Andy Kurtzin, will he be able to stay out a little bit later than the rest of the field there? Now, that'll come into play if there's only going to be one pit stop during this race at the moment, green flag, because we got 54 laps to go with 62 down. This should only be one pit stop, right? Should only be one at the end of the day if they time it right.
Yeah, one, maybe two for these guys that pitted earlier. That's one thing about pitting early that you could end up screwing yourself, basically, because now you got to pit when these guys that waited can stay out and finish the race. And I'm pretty sure that's what James Gardner's trying to do. He's way out there by himself now.
Caulfield's in, so I don't think that was that strategy for him. So, but you never know. Yeah, but this is it, isn't it? Because you're over halfway through the race. You have 53 to go. So I think exactly they're targeting a one stop, completely under green flag conditions, which so far so good. It's been fantastic racing. It should be green all the way. Now, that's going to pan out. But you got to look at Mike George now. First of the the ones who are going on pit road. He's now P5. So, yeah, he's now P5. So he's essentially the leader on the pit stop. Jeremy's in. Now, will Jake follow him? No, Jake stays out. Timothy stays out. Sorry, Jake's in, my apologies. There's Jake. There's Timothy. Matt Knights is the only one that stays out. Where's Matty? He's gone through. So Matt will be the last one out. Whatever is running on his gas tank, he's got it. But a battle for the pit road here between Jeremy. This is what you're going to be perfect, aren't you? Hit your marks so that your team can get those tyres on, get that gasoline in, and get back out.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want to embarrass yourself and wreck on the pit road with another car also. So, yeah, you really got to pay attention on pit road, where your box is at, who's inside of you, outside of you, behind you, because you don't want to mess anybody else's race up either.
Keep
So,
an eye on
Gardner-
Yep, go ahead.
So Knights now takes the lead over Gardner,
Yep.
and Gardner's coming back out onto the track. George has now moved into third. George has now moved into second.
Now he's got out of hand. Andy, there's Andy right behind him. Remember, Andy boxed a lap or a pit stop, took a pit stop a lap or so earlier. George Gilles right behind them. Jake now in the P6, so that's gonna be interesting. George Gilles, remember he took that pit stop earlier, back on lap 59, and he currently at the moment has gained that advantage on Jake Ellingson. So that's worked out quite good, as well as Mike George, who took that early pit stop. Remember. He essentially has got the jump right now on Jeremy, but Jeremy's applying some big pressure to him. Jeremy's trying to use those fresh tyres out of the blanket a lot more, and they're about almost 10 lap difference between these two of the tyres, and Jeremy has the fresh ones.
Yeah, as you can see, he's gaining on George, and he's going to pass him on the inside. He's going to take over that second spot, it looks like. Not quite yet, but he's working on it.
From somebody, it looks like Devon. Ooh, Devon's going slow here at the moment. I don't think it's going to cause anything. It doesn't look like a wreck, but we'll keep an eye in this battle, because obviously Jeremy got Mike George. Matt Knights finally goes in, and that's last of the drivers have gone into pit road. Wow, he stretched it out, didn't he? 60-odd 7 laps on one tank of gas. Impressive.
And we still got this battle for first between Gardner and George. George is trying to get that on the inside. Can't quite do it right now. He does have the fresher tires.
Do you know what's helping, Bud? It's helping at the moment. Andy Kurtz bring up this party as well too. So, and you can see there's traffic everywhere at the moment. This is just cars that are basically a lap or so down. And those cars as well too can try to unlap themselves. So they're essentially almost, although these cars on the track at the lap, they're all going on the same pace because they've all got similar tires.
Yes, they are. They've all got the new tires now. They all pitted about the same time within a couple of laps of each other. So Gardner has taken the lead over George, and followed by Kurtz, Jewel, and Jake Ellingson in fifth right now. And it looks like Gardner is just battling lap traffic now up in front of him.
Well, they are
Trying
lapping,
to stay ahead of these guys.
They are lapping the traffic up the road, starting to lap them, of course. That's all the way down to P13 they're lapping. But look at this. Andy Kurtz, Mike George. And that 97 machine, that currently at the moment is not, obviously Jeremy's up the road. Was it a 17? My apologies. Is it? I can't really see it properly at the moment. There's so much going on.
Yeah, I think the only
go
time these
That's Caulfield.
these lap
That's Caulfield, sorry. That's 97 Caulfield.
right. I think the only time these lap cars or cars that are about to get lapped will provide a difficulty for Gardner, Kurtz, and George is if they're fighting for that championship. They're gonna do everything they can to stay in front of these guys so they don't get lapped, and hope for a caution flag.
And Andy Kurtz getting that job done because of the little bit fresher tyres. Look at this. Cars that have to navigate our way through here. That's the 95. That's Timothy Jones. You got to remember, these drivers are racing as well. They're racing. Even though they're down in P10, P11, P12, they're racing each other. And whilst you have these quicker drivers, obviously here at this point, Andy Kurtz, Mike Jorgensen, Jeremy up the road there, trying to navigate their way through safely as possible. Fantastic racing because it's going green, green, green. We have 43 to go currently. I'm at 73 down. We're expecting that most of those drivers that did hit back on lap 61, 65, 64 actually, mainly a lot of them, should be able to go to the end, should. But the drivers, as you suspected, right? Scott Formosa on lap 50, big push to go to the end. What do you reckon about Mike George on lap 57? Can he stretch it to the end?
I really don't think he can. I think he's going to end up having to pit one more time. I think he pitted a little too early on that last pit stop that he had.
He might have to do a little bit of gas saving, isn't it, at the end of the day? And which is basically it's hard to do, obviously, in a short track like this, but you got to kind of, maybe get that toe, stay behind that toe of Andy Kurtz. That perhaps could even be one of his strategies, isn't it? Stay behind Andy, save a little bit of gasoline, because of course that car's going to kind of suck you in when you're in that draft. And then you can just lift a little bit more, can't you, on that loud pedal, so you're not absolutely planting it. You can have a little run over it.
Yeah, there is a little bit of draft, but I don't think it's enough at Phoenix to really save any fuel, because obviously it's not like Talladega and Daytona where you're going to be in that draft all night long like that. But yeah, the draft, I would say more side draft will probably play more of an effect on this track than being in the draft right behind these guys.
So far, so good. Green, green, green all the way. We still have a little bit of battle further back of the field. Here's James Kaufman and Brandon Wallace. As James Kaufman looks like he's maybe able to get past Mr. Brandon Wallace. That's the 99 machine just tucked in behind him. And remember, these drivers that are battling about P10, you've got the likes of, I think Johnny Caulfield and Timothy Jones got their way back past the leader as well, too, of Jeremy. So Jeremy all by himself, 2.5 seconds. Now, he's doing good. I mean, he's got this one in the bag. He's got this championship waiting for him, basically. I mean, somebody over there at the moment can be sideline, start engraving some of the letters, start engraving his first name perhaps in that trophy, because he's well on his way to get it done. But then again, he's got to concentrate, and of course they've got the traffic to deal with, so cool, calm, and collected for the 42 machine with about almost a 3-second gap over Andy and the Mike George battle behind him. There's George Jewell and a solid biggest gainer at the moment there too, Chaz, at the moment in the chat there, because he's gained 5 positions for the 36 machine. Got a couple of cars to deal with up the road here. That's traffic for him as he navigates past the 24 machine of Devon Smith, hopefully. And just up the road from Devon Smith would be Matt Knight. I believe that he needs to try to navigate past to make his way up there. And ahead of Jake, so I want to see the Jake in the George battle, because I'm quite sure if you've seen that all season long here for the summer series there, Steve. Jake and George Jewell are like magnets on track, isn't it? They're door banging each other and having some great battles.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the looking at the board, the top 12 cars now, actually I'm going to say top 10 by looking at their times, the gap times. Top 10 are all on the lead lap. Everybody else is at least a lap down. And here we go. We got the, I'm missing James Kaufman trying to get past the 80 of Scott Formosa.
Yep.
And he has cleared him.
Yeah, that's the battle for 8th and 9th. Essentially, sorry, 8th and 9th, yes. Which is kind of crucial as well, too, because at some point on that track map, you'll see the number 42 dot. Look at where the number 42 dot is. He's all by himself, isn't he? Of Jeremy. He's going to start catching the back of that pack. Now he's going to catch Matt Knight. Oh, we have a caution, and that's Timothy Jones. Uh-oh. Wow, this is going to spice things up right now. Wow. All right, let's have a look what happened to the old Timothy. Let's see. Can explain this one to you, my friend. That's got to be a contact. Yeah. Oh. Tagged by the 24.
24
Devon
car.
Smith. And then does he? Oh.
Oh, and then Jake.
He comes down and hits. Oh, poor Jake. I don't know how many times this season Jake's been an innocent party in a wreck. I don't think it's a great deal of damage on Jake's car, but we'll have a look at this one again. So, he goes really slow, doesn't he, on the apron there, the 95 too. Maybe perhaps that catches everybody off guard. But of course, what's this going to bring is definitely a pit stop. It's a cheap pit stop, isn't it?
Sure.
It's a cheap gas stop for drivers. Now, what do? If you take the tires, you're in for a long pit stop. If you just take gas, you could be in and out and get track position here.
Well, I think the ones that were involved in the wreck, because this race has gone green for so long, I think they'll use their fast repair. I don't think they're going to sit there and wait for the damage to be fixed over 4 or 5 minutes or however long it would take. I think some of these guys like Gardner and them that are in the pits now, I think that's a smart move. They're going to top off. Now they don't have to worry about coming in again to pit before the end of the race. I'm suspecting if they take any tires, it'll probably be the right sides because that right front is the one that gets really tore up coming around those turns.
I didn't see tires. I didn't see tires on any of them, actually. We're looking at a 14-second pit stop for the majority of the field there. Jeremy still should retain the lead. James Kaufman stayed out one more lap. Let's have a look what he does. Jeremiah Holt is coming in as well. But I do believe that they're not taking tyres at this point. It's just a splash and dash on gasoline. That's the risky part, isn't it? You'll get, because they're all coming in at once, you'll just get absolutely eaten alive in the pit stops and you're going to be right at the back of the field. I'm just curious to have a look because we didn't get a chance to see all the drivers really quickly. Let's have a look. Pulls up to his braking point and his team there for the 25. He's going up on the track, so he's taking tyres.
Yeah, I think you said they were about 14 seconds in their pit stalls. So, yeah, that was plenty of time to change tires and get fuel.
Oh, yeah, you're correct. Yep. So that's a 40.7 pit stop for James Kaufman, which means all those drivers took a pit stop, including a pit stop. Let's take a pit stop and get back to the action. Happily green to the end of our championship round here, the Go Like a Racing ARCA series.
All right, pace car is off. They're getting ready to jump into that Geico restart zone. They don't have the Geico restart zone tonight. But that pace car is off. They're getting ready for the green flag. And we got Gardner on the inside, Kurtz on the outside, and behind Gardner is George.
But that pace car
They're
pulls
in
in
the-
pretty early,
and
doesn't it? Let's go.
They hit that Geico restart zone, and Gardner's off already with a big gap. With George right behind him, trying to take that lead, followed by Kurtz. Kurtz and George are fighting for that second spot right now. Followed behind him is Jewel and then Taylor, your top 5. This is going to be interesting now that everybody's bunched up again, and see how it plays out. And we got
Oh,
Kurtz on the outside.
oh, Andy.
Well, he lost it. He was right there with him.
And he went loosey-goosey, of course, on that one. Yeah, he got just past Mike George, but then he got a little bit of a wiggle at the back of the car there. Thankfully, he didn't get that close to the fence there. Jeremy, after doing all that work, maybe had like a huge gap. That's all neglected. Of course, we got the caution car that came out there, beating that field there. But Mike George, Eddie Kurtz, and George Jewell doing a fantastic job there. He's up in a P4, really battling. You can see behind Chance Taylor, Timothy, Jake Ellington putting big pressure on at the moment there in the 27 machine, trying to make his way back up to the field. Timothy Williams there, Scott Formosa, Brandon Wallace. Big names, big players, and some of these drivers, of course, have a shot at the championship. But they've got to get up the road, and they have to catch Jeremy because he's the man at the moment that looks like he's the one to beat.
And Formosa is fighting his way up. He's currently in 8th. Williams just passed him for 7th, and Formosa's back in that 7th spot, fighting Williams for that 7th position. They're still side by side. Can't quite do it at the moment. And it looks like Jake and Taylor are fighting for that 5th spot.
Battles all over the place. You've got to get early. I think these drivers also realize as well, too, isn't it? Because once they get up to temperature in those tyres and they start spreading out single file. Oh! Is that Scott Formosa that's gone a little bit loosey-goosey on the rear? He saved it, but a little bit of an oversteer into the corner there, and that's going to cost him a bit of a place as Brandon Wallace is up the speed there and going to try and challenge him on the inside. Just about to say, because once 25 to go, once they started filling that single file formation that we saw earlier in the race, that's when it becomes very, very hard to start overtaking, isn't it? Because you're going to need a few laps up your sleeve. I think drivers realize at 25 to go, you don't have that many few laps up your sleeve, and no more chances of pit stops. Oh no, that is Scott Formosa, and what a save for the 80 country line. Oof,
Yeah, he stayed out of the wall somehow. I don't know how he did that, but that's good. His tires still must be kind of cold, or he's pushing it too hard, trying to get towards the front. That's the only thing I can think of is he's fighting too hard and getting loose.
I'll tell you what, right now, Mike George realizes he needs to start fighting because they've had that little first example of all that green flag racing at the start, that once Jeremy's gone, he is gone. And I think at the moment, Mike George realized that, Andy Kurtz realized that, even George Jewell back just in the background, they realized if Jeremy's gone, Jeremy's got the trophy. So they're going to give it absolutely everything they can with 23, almost 22 to go here. Try to catch the number 42 machine that has the biggest target on his back, the Goat Locker Summer Racing Series.
Yeah, and Gardner's pulling away. He's now 0.4 of a second still pulling away from from George. And Kurtz is now 0.7 back, almost 3/4 of a second back behind Gardner. So yeah, Gardner's still pulling away. My bet would be on Gardner winning this race tonight.
If he can maintain that position and that speed, yes, it's one thing to catch a driver. It's another thing to overtake, as Johnny Caulfield and Scott Formosa are well aware it will be this evening. It's their battle. Oh, Scott Formosa into the fence, and he's going to have to yield that position to Johnny at the moment and just get himself under composure and back into it there. Brandon Wallace a little bit up front. So this is the little hornet says back here. Oh, as now Brandon Wallace taps the fence. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. I'm all confused. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm confused. There's somebody in the back market getting me all over the place at the moment. We'll go back to the business end. And Jeremy still trying to maintain that half a second gap. Mike's got to give it everything he possibly can. If he doesn't, it's going to be like Andy Kurtz or George Jewell, even Jake at the moment up, and the George and Jake show, P4, P5, to try to do anything to take this away from Jeremy.
Yeah, for most of us having a tough time since that restart. Like you said, we've seen him get loose a few times, and then he hit the wall. He's not doing very good right now, but hopefully he can settle down, get things under control, and keep it going. Yeah, Jewell's a 1 1/4 seconds back now from Gardner, and Jake is about 2 1/3 seconds back. They're going to have a hard time catching up and to Gardner to do anything, I think.
What they need to do is just keep pushing, I'd say, at the end of the day, because if anything happens up at the business end right now, which is the business end where I'm calling Andy Kurtz, he can see Mike George and he can see Jeremy, and he can also see that trophy slipping away at the moment because George has got one hand on that trophy. He's almost to reach out the second one with 18 to go. George Jewell and Jacob down the road there, they've just got to just hang in here, try to do the best laps that they possibly can, and then just sit back and see if there's any door banging or any elbows out, fisticuffs that start occurring with the front three.
Yep, nothing is guaranteed who's going to finish where, not until that checkered flag comes out and they cross the start-finish line.
Speaking of which, George Jewell's starting to really pull him in here now. So just like that, he's covered that gap. In fact, he's starting to drop Jake. He's dropped down the road by about, as you can see there, almost like a second and change. So George Jewell started to join the party at the moment there, as you can hear. Shazda out there, go get him, 36 she is, and he's 5 positions gained. All he can do is catch the pack. Another thing to overtake. Jeremy, cool, calm, and collective still maintain the lead in this race, but those lap counters are clicking over, my friend, because we're almost down to 15 to go. We are.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting. Everybody behind Gardner is going to start pushing it. They're going to start getting aggressive. They want to do everything they can to take that lead and get that championship along with the race win.
What do you do right now if you're in the boots, you're in the cockpit, of course, of Mike George machine? You know that you're looking in your mirrors because you also got a fast Andy Kurtz. You've got a fast George Jewell a little bit further back at the moment. But he's not looking backwards. He's got to be looking forwards. And he's looking forwards at Jeremy, number 42 machine. He's been studying the tailpipe of Jeremy for a good chunk of change right now in laps. And he knows where Jeremy's making mistakes. And he also knows where he can make gains. What do you do if you're in the racing boots in the 29 Mike George machine?
Yeah, he pulls forward, catches up with him, and I think that's when Gardner may be making a minor mistake and letting George catch up to him a little bit. And then, of course, too, it could be that George is making a little mistake, and that's when he falls back to that 3 to 4 tenths of a second back behind him again, like he is now.
It doesn't seem to be making enough mistakes to capitalize on, isn't it, from Mike George? So that's the only problem. I think it's as out there saying, just finish your race and be patient. Well, your boy at the moment is racing his race and be patient, but at some point he's going to be less patient because he wants to get past Andy Kurtz. Is slowly dropping out of that top 2, as you mentioned. And George Jewell is thinking about potentially a podium position for the finale race this season. And he's going to give it everything he possibly can to get past Andy. Andy's going to do everything he possibly can to hold up George. I think that chance right now from Andy to take that P1 slipping away, it's going to be up between the 42 machine or the 29 machine, Mike George and Jeremy. Jake's dropped back that far now that he's just have to sit there and he's going to have a lonely one because there's a big gap down the Chance Taylor, and then there's a bit of a hornet's nest brewing behind these drivers. But unfortunately, drivers, we're going to have to go back to the business end of this one with 11 to go because we're going to see whether or not George Jewell can take that place. And and if Mike George now just he was in half a second. He's got to stay within a clutch of half a second, isn't he? Because now he is. If it drops anything more than that, it's just not enough place. Not even a late dive bomb could do anything about Jeremy's race win.
Yeah, he's got to do everything he can to stay with him, stay glued to his bumper. Again, something happened there that George was almost right up to his bumper again, and now he's falling back. Yeah, Ellingson is now 3.2 seconds back from the leader. Your top 5, Gardner, George, Kurtz, Jewell, and Jake Ellingson. And the battle is going to be up front, I believe, with Gardner and George. And then Kurtz and Jewel fighting for that 3rd and 4th spot.
With 9 to go, almost onto the backstretch at the moment. Jeremy's on it. It's got to be pressure on Jeremy. It has to be a lot of pressure on Jeremy. I mean, he's done it before. He's won races before. And they've got the points. Remember, these drivers at the moment that are all battling, they have enough points to take the championship. So all they have to do is bring it home with 9 to go. Make that 8 now. The pressure's on Jeremy's shoulder. You know that for a fact, don't you, as a race driver there, Steve? Like, you're like, oh, I know, I've got it. I've got the speed. I've got the pace. I can deliver this. I can bring it home. But you know, just slumbering in your mind somewhere along the line, it's almost like there's two little people talking to you, isn't it? Like you see in cartoons and stuff like that, the good or the bad or whatever. You know that something lurking in your mind's going, please don't make a mistake. Just keep driving. Focus, focus, focus. But you don't want to confuse yourself that much that you lose a little bit of faith and you make a mistake, and then all of a sudden, it's that race win slips between your fingers.
Yeah, I would say, he's quite a bit of pressure. He's wanting to maintain that lead, and he knows that one little mistake will end his night as far as getting the championship and the race win. So, yeah, Gardner's doing everything he can to stay up front. George, of course, is doing everything he can to get up there to him. And he's still falling behind. He's almost a half a second back now. And the battle going on between Kurtz and Jewel for that 3rd and 4th spot again.
Yeah,
Whoa.
That's pretty wide there at the moment there, George Jewel. That might cost you a little bit of time there on Andy Kurtz. Whoa, it won't. Andy Kurtz makes a mistake as well, too. So that might hand that one over to George Jewel. There's door banging. There's contact.
No. Oh.
That's Andy in the fence. There's caution. Wow, that's beef. Wow, that is beef.
They were fighting hard for that position. And that looked like to me that Jewel went down and tried to block him, and Kurtz ended up rear-ending him there.
Yeah, let's have a look. So Kurtz has come out to the fence. Well, we have to go back a little bit because his beef was not just on that corner, was it? You got the beef back here. So you can probably explain this one at our second caution, believe it, of the evening, because it does continue for a little bit here. Now, remember, Andy Kurtz is the 18, well, it's the 24 on the car, but and that you're looking at are currently at the moment because of George Jewel at 36. Explain this one.
Yeah, cool. Jewel. Yeah, that looked like that Kurtz tapped the wall there and really slowed down, and Jewel wasn't expecting it. So now Jewel's on the inside. Kurtz wants that inside again.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if Jewel was trying to block him or just a racing incident there where Kurtz just wasn't expecting it to slow down that much, it looked like.
All right, and they're going to go on the pit road. Scott Formosa was also in the pit road, so I'm not quite sure if Scott Formosa was involved in that incident or not, or he's just electing to try something from the back of the field as Jeremy. I saw some race control saying Jeremy had crashed. Thankfully, he has not. That was just the telemetry sometimes will detect that the car goes too slow during a certain zone. It will say crash, even though it's not. Well, that's definitely spices things around. Shasta out there, that's one for debate, no doubt, between Andy Kurtz and George Jewel. And the thing is, fortunately for George Jewel, it's got him that P3 position. Unfortunately, of course, for Andy Kurtz, as he's dropped him back to P9.
Yeah, I believe Formosa probably went in and got some tires because if you remember, he was getting pretty loose there. Tapped the wall once or twice also. So yeah, he probably went in and got some fresh tires, give him a little bit more grip here towards the end.
Why not? Yeah, exactly. With essentially probably 2 to go even. You could probably go up in the inside apron there and gain a few positions towards the end, a little bit of a consolation prize. But now we're going to have these top 7 drivers did not go into the pit road, but you go back to Andy Kurtz. Now, remember, Andy will make up some places, hopefully. Scott Formosa and Brandon Walls. They've got fresh boots underneath their car. So, and you know what it's like when you have those fresh boots. You can really just put your nose in there and don't worry about it getting chopped off because it'll have the grip, it'll have the traction. Unfortunately, the only problem with these drivers, as you know, is that they don't have the time on their side. Because the pace car lights are off, we're going to have essentially just 3 laps to go. Jeremy's going to have to hold on tight again for this one. Almost had it in the bag. Mike George, Jill, Jake, Chance Taylor, they can all try anything right now, can they? To try to get the job done and steal that one away. What looks to be Jeremy's race.
Yeah, this should be fun. Everybody's all bunched up now. They're going to be fighting for that lead. The pace car is off, waiting to come around to that Geico restart zone and get that green flag from Bernie. And they should be coming up on that restart zone about now, coming around this next turn. Let's see what happens here. Gardner on the inside, George on his outside, Jewel Ellingson in that second row, Wilms and Taylor in that third row. And they're in the Geico restart zone, and they are going. Gardner jumps out to a big lead. The battle now is between Gardner and Jewel for that second and third spot, followed by Ellingson and Taylor for that fourth and fifth spot.
Jabby got the launches, all launches. He needed that one because he's covered himself up quite well. Because just 2 laps to go here in Phoenix, it should be no problemo for him to get the job done. Mike George is commanding at the moment. It may probably apply a little bit of pressure, but I think it might be a day late, dollar short because the track just don't have enough time. We are on the penultimate lap right now. There it is. So there's the white flag. Jamie's got the lead, and he has the distance. In fact, if anything, it's going to be up the rest of the field. Mike George, and that she could secure that P2. George Jewell there, and Jake Ellingson further back. It's going to be very close between Timothy and Chance Taylor. But of course, we'll keep our eyes peeled on our race leader, Jeremy, who's had to fight and endure his way through the field. But he's going to get that checkered flag. And he gets the race win, and he gets the season victory here at the Goat Locker Racing ARCA Series. Jeremy Gardner is your champion.
That was a good race, and it was a clean race. We had only two cautions, which was good. And everybody pretty much played nice all night long. And congratulations to Gardner on his not only the race win, but the championship for the INvets ARCA Series Summer. INvets ARCA Summer Series for Goat Locker Racing.
It'll be a nice burnout he's going to have to do, isn't it? Wasn't that one of the best burnouts you're ever going to have ever when you're a race driver because you won the championship and got it done? It's a summer series, but it's still a championship. You've got a lot of hard races they had to do. He's going to have a few drivers say, Mike George's going to come up there and give him a little door bang tap to say, thank you very much. Good job. Good race. Good Mike George got that P2 position. Let's celebrate, my friend. It feels good to get a race victory. In fact, they're both going to simultaneously celebrate because Mike George got that P2. George Jewell, what a drive, the P6, causing that little bit of controversy at the end when Andy Kurtz, who finished in P6, will show those results. You can go over them for us, please.
All right, your result, your race winner, and your season champion, Jeremy Gardner, in that 42 car. Mike George came in second, followed by George Jewell in third, Jake Ellingson in fourth, Timothy Wilms in fifth for your top five, followed by Andy Kurtz, Scott Formosa, Chance Taylor, Brandon Wallace, Johnny Cofield for your top 10, followed by James Kaufman, Timothy Jones, Matt Knights, Jeremy Holt, Devin Smith, Tyler Justice, Tanner Bethea, and Michael McCarthy. Looked like they never even started the race. They just decided at the last moment to sit this one out, I guess.
Yeah, they did. Maybe technical difficulties, as we saw too from Rusty. He in the chat there, he said he couldn't even drive this evening as much as he'd love to, but he's enjoying it, hopefully, and I was enjoying it. Fantastic race, just the 3 cautions, I believe, overall. We'll get a word from our sponsors, of course, and don't go anywhere. We're going to get a word from our fantastic gladiators from a fantastic race season. Back soon.
Are you ready?
For Murph's Magical Creations. Home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's Magical Creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email.
Starbase. 1552 Comics. We sell everything a collector would want. Comics, Funkos, action figures, and so many more. A real American comic book shop. We are online only. Starbase 1552 Comics. Find us on eBay Auctions.
And welcome back to Nazareth 360 broadcast of the INvets ARCA Summer Series. We just finished up here in Phoenix, and we got a champion who we will hopefully be talking to later. But first, Mr. George Jewell, you had the biggest gain tonight of 6 places. How did that feel for you to get up there and be fighting for that first place?
It felt good actually to be running up front with these guys. That towards the end there, I made a bad mistake and missed my braking zone and hit Andy, and that really bummed me out when I did that. But yeah, I love this track. I always seem to run good here. It's my first season in ARCA, and I didn't know how it was really going to work out. But it was great running up front with those guys.
Yeah, it seemed like the top 4 or 5 cars were up there the whole time, and it looked like it was even those top 5 cars. It's kind of hard to pass from our view. Did that feel like that to you also?
Yeah, I could gain a little bit, then I would lose a little bit. It was kind of like the same thing it looked like on everybody. Once we got our certain areas and everything, we just kind of started hitting our marks and just kind of see how it played out. I kind of short pitted a little bit at the halfway mark, tried to gain just a little bit on them, and kind of helped, but I made a couple mistakes getting up on the speed and getting my tires up to temp.
And George, is there anybody you would like to thank tonight?
First, Goat Locker, thank you very much for allowing me to race in your league. It's been great. BCI Communications on board with me. I love it. Got a good friend down there and family member that's a sales rep and got me in touch with them. Next Level Racing, Sim Motions. There's just so many. This is the first time I've been in here, so I'm kind of lagging for what I need to do. And Cruising Classics, Veterans for Life, and Alexander PC. I bought a PC from them, and it really works great. And just appreciate everybody having a good season, and I enjoyed it very much. And you guys up in the booth, and great having you guys on board.
And Dean, do you have anything for Mr. Jewell?
No, congratulations, George, up there. And your support out there too, my friend. With your Shasta and everybody else that's out there supporting you.
Oh, my number one supporter is always behind me out there.
Yeah, good. That should be number one. Thanks, but yeah, no, as you said, you're not up here very often. Hopefully, we'll see you up here very, very more often, of course, as we have a little bit of a break and then head into the new season. Hope to see you on the grid as well, too, my friend. So, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. You know, have a good evening.
Just real quick too, at the moment, Steve, is that we haven't 100% confirmed a race winner just yet. So I might have jumped out of the gate a little bit too quick on that one. They're working behind the scenes there to calculate all those numbers. But we do know, of course, first, second, and third in this race, and we'll continue those interviews if you'd like to. Who's next there, Steve?
Yeah, I saw that little message. Looks like Patrick is getting ready to update us here. George, you
Yes.
had a strong car all night long. And I noticed there at the end of the race, we were talking about it. You almost overtook Mr. Gardner. How'd that play out for you?
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
This is Mike George in the moment we're interviewing, right?
Yeah, we're on George Jewell, right?
Yes.
So, no,
Yeah,
confused.
George.
Mike
Mike,
George.
Mike, you were up close with Gardner pretty much all night long. And we thought there at the end of the race, you were going to overtake him. Kind of explain what was going through your mind at that time.
Yeah, guys. Sorry about the confusion just a second ago. He's a fast driver. He's really skilled, extremely experienced, and I was really trying to take care of my tires. And I saw him just get a loose a couple times, and I figured I might have had the chance to get him. But I was pushing just a little too hard towards the end there. I think I went through my tires just a little quick after that last pit stop there. Um, but it was going to be really close, really close. I'm not sure if I would have had enough for him at the end there. But all around, it was still a great race. Absolutely.
Yeah, we noticed a couple times before the end there that you would get real close and then fall back a little bit. What was going on there? Was Jeremy making some mistakes, or did you get up close and you yourself making minor mistakes, or?
No, I was trying a couple different lines at the end there. That dog leg is extremely tricky to cut, and if you don't hit it just right, your car's bouncing in the air, and you're just creating more heat in your tires. Um, so other than that, coming out of turn 4 is pretty rough too. I know I came out a little too early and put it on the gas a little too early, and I kind of had to pedal it a little bit coming out of 4. So my consistency there at the end wasn't really on point. So that was the reason why, sometimes you get a little close and a little far away due to my inconsistency there at the end.
Okay, and we just got a message from the administration there of Goat Locker Racing. He says it definitely wasn't Gardner, like was said a bunch of times. So we apologize for that. We're still waiting on them to figure out what the point situation is like. Um, at the moment, Dean, do you have anything for Mike?
No, congratulations, bud. Good job there. Yep, you also got the Big Fish Pole Award too. That up there too, as well too, for putting the pole, finishing in P2.
That was my second one. I didn't have dinner, so that was really good again. Ate it in the car during one of those cautions. Shout out to Big Fish. Really good stuff. I appreciate them coming on board and representing Go Locker with us.
Not a problem. And your sponsors, of course, you'd be thanking on the side of your 29 machine there. Of course, you got Go Lockers splashed all over it there. Anybody, friends and family, everybody else that's helped support you to deliver such a fantastic race driver and race car.
Absolutely. First and foremost, my family's been watching. So thank you to all you guys watching. I appreciate, especially during this summer series. Yeah, the car looks great. Jamie Barkus and Jake Ellingson, those guys took a jet over to the house and kind of buffed it out for me. So give a shout out to them. Thank you guys for stopping over. Shout out to GLR. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I keep saying it's like a second home because it is. I'd rather have nowhere else to be but here. You guys, of course, I've been with Nazra since I started with GLR in the spring series, and it's been no looking back. It's been great. We got Lincoln Tech, INvets, Relevant Sounds here, Jam Printing and Promotions, Cruising
Okay,
Classics.
Mike, sorry to interrupt you. We just got the word. Congratulations, you are the ARCA Summer Series champion. How does that feel?
Get out of here! Oh my gosh. Uh, I'm a little lost for words, really. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Tied on points, apparently. So this is the information. So your straight up
Okay.
points, right? Your straight up points were tied. Yourself and Andy. And of course, we're talking about Andy Kurtz. However, you finished better in this race because you finished better than Andy Kurtz in this race. You're declared the champion.
Oh my gosh, guys, thank you so much. Goat Locker, Jamie, Pat, Jake. I couldn't have done this without you guys. I really appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to race for you guys. Everybody knows I'm new to this, but I keep preaching practice, 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 guys. Follow good drivers, learn from them, be willing to get coached, mentored. That's my motto. I was expecting to come into this race top 5, got the pole, and figured I had a pretty fast car from there. My main focus really, I knew Jeremy was going to run a great race and Andy Kurtz, but my main focus was that man, Andy Kurtz. I knew it was going to be a big battle between me and him. Of course, Jeremy. But yeah, guys, this is a blessing and really a dream come true for me. I, I'm just stoked. I'm excited, and I'm sorry if I can't talk anymore because I'm a little lost for words, guys.
Yeah, I don't blame you a bit. Yeah, Mr. Patrick Drawbeck stated that you and Andy were tied with the season wins as well. So yes, the tiebreaker does go to you because you finished in a better position than Kurtz did in this race. So
Uh,
congratulations.
Thanks, guys. This is you guys have been with me since in the very beginning. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little speechless right now. This is unbelievable. But I would like to finish out my my sponsors, if you guys don't mind. We got Veterans for Life Foundation. They've been with these guys from the very beginning. Right Now Roofing, Alexander PCs, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing. We can't forget iRacing, of course. I wouldn't be here because of them either. Um, Big Fish Barbecue. And yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure, and you will be seeing me around in the near future, very, very soon here in the upcoming fall series for Goat Locker.
Well,
All right.
and big shout outs in the chat there too. People will be asking, so I do apologize at the start there. I jumped out of the gate there calling Jeremy, who won the race, of course, as the championship winner. But he wasn't.
Yeah.
This man, the 29, has done it, Mr. Mike George. And you got a big shout out. Shout out there from everybody in there saying, yep, hell yeah, brother. Good, congratulations on the championship.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. And Jeremy, I'm sorry, my man. It is what it is. You're a great racer. Andy Kurtz, I saw you at the end there, kind of take a little stumble. I feel bad for you, brother. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. And I'll be seeing you guys here really soon.
All right, thank you, Mike. Again, it was announced that Mr. Mike George is your winner for the season. He's a season champion. The race winner was Jeremy Gardner. And we'll go down the list one more time for your top 10. Jeremy Gardner, Mike George, who is our season champion, followed by George Jewell, Jake Ellingson, and Timothy Williams. And in 6th was Andy Kurtz, Scott Formosa, Chance Taylor, Brendan Wallace, and Johnny Cofield wrapping out your top 10. So Dean, your final thoughts for tonight.
Oh, what a fantastic race, isn't it? Green flag racing conditions, switching things around there with those pit stops, make it interesting, of course. Throw a couple of cautions in there, even makes it more fun. And at the end of the day, we had a little bit of a tangle with a couple of drivers there, but overall, everybody has to be happy with a great summer series. And I'm sure the drivers are stoked. Most of them are. We spoke to definitely in the broadcast booth and the commentary booth, as well as their big shout out, of course, to the family out there, the friends and family that support it. Because out of all the NASRA broadcasts that I do all week and stuff like that, this is one of the most active, and it's so good to engaging and having an audience actually that we love to engage with as well, too, so they can chat about their drivers and their friends and their families and so forth. So I appreciate you. Of course, tomorrow we have more, so don't worry about that. As Jeremy saying, dang, where's my broadcast out there in the chat? We finally get a bit of a word from Jeremy. He did finish the race first and has raced really hard all season long. You want your interview? Daylight Dollar Short, my friend. We've been waiting for you. We are going to wrap up the broadcast. Tomorrow night, of course, as you know, we have the Truck Series. Mr. Steve.
Yep, the Relevant Truck Series. Unfortunately, I don't remember where they're at.
Yeah, let's worry about it, my friend. We'll have that for you tomorrow. You can just click on the likes and bells and subscribe there. You'll see it.
And just as a reminder to our audience out there, the Goat Locker Racing ARCA series will return along with the Relevant Truck Series at the end of that last week of August for their full season. Relevant Truck Series, tune in tomorrow night. It'll be their championship race. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining NASRA 360 Network.